Hey folks, Jeff and Lorena here at Back to Country. If you've been following along, you know that we've been having a little bit of trouble with our tractor. So basically the lift cylinder on the loader, cylinder that goes in here, all the seals went out of it, which is not abnormal for a cylinder. You typically have to repack them, I don't know, every so many years. They wear out, it's normal. Anyway, so the seals went out. We had to repack them. We had some problem finding the seals, proprietary issues, had to go through New Holland. When we got the final seals, it turns out the kit was made by C&H, so they're available out there. You need the part number, and then you can do a search, and once you find them, you'll find them cheaper just about anywhere than from the dealer. So that's my advice there. But let's talk about these cylinders, because I think there's a design flaw in these things. Normal cylinders have threads. So we'll look at a normal cylinder, we'll look at these cylinders, show you the difference with the wire keeper, and I'll show you what I think is a design flaw. Been working on this cylinder from the tractor. It's been kind of a bear, really. Just a lot of negatives about this thing. I'm really starting to not like New Holland for multiple reasons. I mean, I'm finding design flaws and just a lot of problems. So I think I talked about this cylinder before, how they seal it, that there's a wire keeper. So basically you get a straight wire in the kit, and this cap, collar, ballast, head, I mean, you hear it called many different things. This is what goes in the top of the cylinder, and that's how it seals. So when you put it in, this little groove right here will be with that gap, and then you put this wire, it's bent on the end, and you put that in there, and then you literally start to turn it. And as you turn it, it's going to bend that wire, which is pretty thick wire, so but it'll bend it all the way around until the end, and that is the keeper. That's what keeps the cylinder in there. So what's the problem with that? All the other cylinders that I've dealt with are always threaded, and they put an O-ring on the outside which seals it, and then you got threads, and then there's usually an O-ring maybe on the inside too. Either way, it doesn't matter. As long as there's one O-ring to seal it, the threads are going to keep it. But if you look here at this thing, it's got a lot of pitting on it, and we had to heat the heck out of this to get it off, because it was basically rusted together. So the flaw in this is the wire goes in this groove. There's no seals or anything to prevent moisture from getting into this. So if it goes years without being rebuilt, then moisture gets in there or whatever. You can see all this pitting. That's from rust. I mean, this thing was rusted. That's why we had to heat it so much to get it apart. So in my opinion, that's a design flaw. That allows moisture to get in there. All these other ones that are threaded, I have never seen any rust and pitting inside of the threads, typically because the O-ring's at the end, so the hydraulic fluid can actually get in there a little bit into the threads and prevent that rusting and stuff. I mean, there's not a lot of penetration that does that, but it does, I guess, get enough to keep moisture out or whatever, and it just doesn't rust and pit like that. So my opinion, that's a design flaw. I don't like it, but that's how they do all of their cylinders. Of course, you can see all of this where we literally tore it up, putting a big giant pipe wrench on there to get a hold of this thing and to turn it, because you got to turn it to unthread that wire as well. And so you know, we damaged it taking it off too. Just like, say, this is cosmetic, but still you shouldn't have to do that. And the other ones that are made with spanner wrenches and threads, they don't get like this. So in my opinion, another negative to New Holland, that's a flaw. Of course, you know they ripped me off on the seals, $335 for the rebuild kit for this. And the rebuild kit is made by C&H. If I would have known that before and could have got the part numbers and everything, I guess I could have done a little more research and found these things for half the price. The tractor place really did, I mean, they rob you. So anytime you got to deal with a dealer, and I know John Deere's the same way because I've dealt with them on some of my equipment as well. So when you're dealing with any kind of equipment, I don't care if it's tractors, heavy equipment, whatever, even your vehicles, I mean, anytime you got to go to the dealer, yeah, they're going to stick it to you. So that's how that is. But we've already put the new seals and everything on this, so we're about ready to put it back together. I just been kind of cleaning it up. When we took this apart, you can see all the paint's burn off the end of the cylinder because we really had to heat it a lot. And the bad thing is, even inside this cylinder, you've got pitting up to where that wire is actually a little past the wire. There's pitting. So again, design flaw. It doesn't keep the moisture out of there. So when I put this back together, I'm going to grease it really well and hope that that grease provides that moisture barrier so that we don't have this further problem. Because if you had further problem and this gets too bad, then you're going to end up replacing the whole cylinder, which, you know, that'll cost a fortune. Don't even want to know how much that'll cost. So best thing we can do is try to practice some preventive maintenance to avoid that. I'm sure Ford or New Holland probably tells you the same thing, to grease it up real good, whatever, I don't know. But that's what I'm going to do to make sure that we keep that moisture out of there. We'll get this thing back together and working again so we can get it back to work. Okay, so this piece right here is called a cap or collar or ballast or head. Just about every company seems to call it something different, but this is the top piece that screws into a cylinder, and then your cylinder rod goes through here. So this is off my Hyundai excavator, and this is a dozer blade cap. I just happened to be replacing seals on it at the same time. And so looking at the design of this one, you can see I've got a O-ring here and a O-ring with a spacer here, and then this threads into the cylinder itself. So this O-ring theoretically prevents moisture from getting from outside to the inside. This one actually keeps some of the hydraulic fluid maybe from leaking out through the threads. But the bottom line is, you can see these threads are very clean. There's no rust on them. And this thing is probably as old, if not older, than the tractor. So that's what most of these cylinder collars or caps look like that I'm used to dealing with. They're all in good shape. There's not a whole bunch of rust and corrosion. They're, you know, pretty decent and ready to go to work. The New Holland ones are rusted, pitted, etc., and that's because of that wire keeper that I was talking about and showing you all the pitting and everything on that collar. It lets the moisture in. So if you own a New Holland or any tractor or piece of equipment that uses wire keepers to maintain or to hold that cap on, you can see this wire keeper here. I mean, there's rust in there, it's dried out, but this cylinder doesn't leak. So why would I take it apart and repack it if it doesn't leak? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But that area right there gets wet. It's out, you know, it's out in the weather, it can get dirt in it, whatever. And so I suspect that whenever we do have to rebuild this and all the other ones, that we're going to find some pitting. It's going to be the same. So how can you prevent that? So if I bought one of these machines new, I would make this a regular part of my maintenance schedule to either oil this slot or pack it with grease. One way is maybe to pack it with grease and then put a wrap of duct tape around this to seal it up and to keep the moisture out of that. What you want to do is keep that moisture and dirt and everything out of there long term. That's going to make that cylinder last a lot longer. I suspect that when they designed this, it's part of that planned obsolescence, that they designed it to fail. So that, you know, this tractor right here is a 95 model. So, you know, that's what, 26 years old. So with a 26-year-old tractor, it's not at the point yet of failure. I mean, they can still be rebuilt and everything, but when you see that rust and pitting in those cylinders, that tells you they're not going to last forever. I've got other machines that are well over 20 years old. I mean, we've got that big beast earth mover scraper that is 70s. We've got a motor grader that's from the 70s. Those cylinders look great. When we take them apart and repack them, there's no rust or anything, no issues on the inside. They were built to last, not to fail. So in my opinion, the engineers that designed this designed it to fail so somebody down the road could make some more money by either selling a new loader, tractor, or cylinders, whatever. That's my opinion. If you like it, like and subscribe. Keep watching our videos. If you don't like it, well, thanks for watching. Have a great day and continue to come see us for more information you don't like. God bless. Have a good one.